So don't be shy. Type it in the chat. Whereabouts in the world are you watching us from as we live stream on Facebook and YouTube, in addition to the Zoom room? Now, if you're in the Zoom room live, I want to say that we do have French interpretation happening right now. You just need to go to the bottom, click French, and then you'll hear from the beautiful Florence, who's speaking and probably looking at me and saying, "Slow down." That's the pace. I get a bit excited. Welcome online, everybody. So today, just so you know, if you're brand new, this session is trying to counter for or look after the Southern Hemisphere because we're asleep when the first session happens. So we have our corporate team once a month do two sessions, although lately, because we're post-summit, we've been doing two sessions every week. This is part two of some stuff you've missed. You're going to be hearing from Anton Garrity, our marketing director. You're going to be hearing from Steve Scott. You're going to be hearing from Chris Fowler with some pretty exciting stuff. So there's a lot of updates. And if I was you, I'd get a pen and paper out because you don't want to miss this. I will be playing the session that they did this morning so that just so you know that. And yeah, take as many notes as you can. So here we go.
Mr. Anton Gary is a wonderful man. He's a pleasure to work with. He works very hard. You see him on and off, but he's extremely busy behind the scenes. He's one of the uh, executives that makes this beautiful marketing experience for you with assets, with all that we have available for you. And he brings a lot of experience, not only having been an executive in the corporate world and industry, but also a top leader himself. So it's very useful and very important to our company. Aaron and Anton, it's now my pleasure to welcome you. If you're here, please go ahead and show yourself.
Good. Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's good to be with you. And Sergio, it is always a pleasure to work with you here at Neumi. We are just so excited after Global Summit with, as we know, you all are with the new products and everything. And so our job is to make sure that these tools and what you just saw with Bert's great presentation are available to you. So I just want to kind of go over a little bit about some of the things that are available to you right now. In your back office, if you use those three little bars on the upper left-hand corner, scroll down to Neumi Marketing Assets and click on that, and then you'll see a bunch of folders. And all these folders are things that are for you to use, that you're welcome to use when you create things to build your business. There's one folder that is called Global Summit Assets. And in there right now, what we have for you are all new product banners. I know I had a lot of requests that you loved the banners that we had at the event, and we have made those available to you in the back office so that if you need to produce banners for any events or anything like that, we have those available to you there in the back office. We also have those wonderful Neumist presentations that you just saw, as well as the NutraSwish Extra Strength presentation and the HERS presentation. And we actually have two for HERS. One is well, actually, Bert went over both of them. One is more ingredient-based and one is product-based. And so we have both of those. We are working right now on those to translate those into the top 12 languages that we have been doing for all the tools. So those are actually the next ones that we're working on, and we are working on those right now. We have the Neumist launch videos. We didn't show those again. We do have a new immunity Neumist video that is now uploaded in the back office. Just for compliance sake, we changed the first one a little bit, and made sure that we have something that is that you can use anywhere now. So all four of those videos are in the back office, and you can use those to promote the Numis product line. And we do have a couple, two or four new Numi logo banners as well. And one thing that we are working on right now that I think you're going to love, it'll be available shortly. And shortly, I mean, well, I better not say. It'll be in just a few days, but we are working on a new prospect um, presentation, a new prospect presentation for you for the field. And this will include kind of a story outline of how to present or how we would present if we were in the field. And I've been in the field, so I think I have a good idea of what you're looking for. But we want to make something that's generic that kind of follows the story of the start of Numi, the progression from our hero product, why Steve actually focused on this to even start the company. And it takes us down through each of the products that we now have available, some sales tips, and we'll even have, actually, I know we're not showing, we'll have this for sure next week, but we have a new comp plan training video that is 10 minutes long. And that will be available probably. This is a pitch for you all to make sure you add WhatsApp, our new Numi channel, because I'll drop that comp plan training video in there today for you. But you will see it live in a presentation next week. But those are just some of the tools that we are making sure that are available to you. I know we're getting a lot of requests and we're trying to get to them as quick as possible, but that is what's available right now on the new product, Sergio. And we're just excited. The field is excited. It's evident that they're excited, and we're excited here because it gives us something new and fresh and fun to work on. And we're trying to create tools for you that's going to help you to sell these products. So we appreciate everything you do, and we appreciate any feedback that you have for us, or I guess even requests. But we have a lot on the plate right now, but we're trying to tackle it all for you. So we'll have those put in that very same folder as soon as they're available. So thank you, Sergio.
A lot of work, Anton. I know that you're going around 24/7, waking up extra early, going to bed late. Thank you. There's some love for you from the field because they realize and recognize all that you do for the company. And I can't wait for us to see these new slides that are just being enhanced on what we have now in the near future. But today we'll upload that video on our new WhatsApp group so that people know what we're talking about and they can access it. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Anton. And we will see you soon, I hope, again
Yeah, of course.
here. All right. And now it's my pleasure to bring on our next guest, someone that you know very well. He's with me every week here on Neumi.tv. We kick off every week on Monday mornings together, and it's a pleasure for me to work with him. He had a great presentation that he shared at Summit, and we are now in a new era where when I first joined the company about 2 years ago, Chris and I have already been working with this type of method that he'll talk about. And now we're seeing the fruits of the seeds that were planted along the way. And it's a great, great time for us to be here at Neumi as we go forth post celebrating our 50th anniversary. So Chris, welcome to today's call.
Hey, it's a pleasure to join, Sergio. I feel like it's just us two again. We can talk Monday
Yeah,
morning
it's
call.
happy day here. So it
Yeah.
feels like it is the Neumi live, but it is live. We're here right now, and we'll be live again this evening. Now, Chris, please share what the vision is behind the belief. I'm going to pull up your slides here that will talk about kind of what we're living today, which is so cool because we know that that's what sets up the company for success for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sergio. And it's a pleasure to be here. I am so excited to share just a few things that, we shared over in Barcelona at the amazing summit that we had. And then just to interact a little bit as we as I share some of my thoughts. But if we can put the slides up and I'll go through this a little quickly. And then we'll start with the next slide. You can see I'm right here. Yep, that's me. Okay, so I really just want to jump in just the concept of momentum and kind of compounding effort, right? So we just heard a bunch of things that we've launched and products. We know that we're enjoying a new enhanced compensation plan. We have the Achieve trips that are going, qualifications that are going on. We have the new Rank Accelerator bonus. We have all of these little pieces, the Diamond Momentum Tour. So we have all these little pieces that are moving right now, and we're asking you as the field, as the leaders, to work behind those and build with those, and many of you are, and you're experiencing this type of momentum, right? And so it's taken us time to set up each year so that we could move each part of the calendar, each event to each event to each event. And so as we go, you'll notice in your own organization, as well as in Neumi as a whole, that momentum starts picking up. We start with small wins in your team. You share those wins. You get that kind of momentum of the psychology of momentum going, but that translates into bigger and bigger things in your organization or things in Neumi as a whole. And so it's really critical to think about as what I'm doing now, stacking that win for the next, for the next, for the next. Let's go ahead and advance that slide. What this really looks like, if we were to just break down, we want to create some predictability in your business. We want you to know that wherever you're at in the year, what are you working on or working towards, or what is Neumi going to be doing? And of course, there'll be room for some surprises and some promos and some other things. But there's parts of our kind of core system that we're working to build. And this is something that's utilized by the biggest companies in the world, whether it be Apple or Disney or other, Google or whatever the big businesses are out there. They all have some type of system cadence that they're using to deliver to their customers, and to work with their salespeople so that they can deliver. And so, as you can kind of see, each year there's going to be some predictability that you can rely on. So you know that in July we will always have our either Neumi Week, or we'll have a summit, depending on the year. That's a location driven event. And then we'll have diamond tours, and we'll go into a diamond trip. We'll have our Blue Friday sales. We're going to end the year with a crazy cool celebration where we're collecting stories and sharing, and just really sharing this belief, and in a way that will help generate content for you for the future. We're going to kick off the new year with our New Year kickoff events. We had a crazy success last year this year, sorry, with our 300 different events across the world. We'll go into a team challenge. We'll have our Achieve trips, our team challenge trips, and back into our summit. And there are other areas that are creating that momentum, promotions and different little launches. It could be product or country launches that are going to really help that. And so speaking of that, those types of launches, we want to continue to create this predictability for you. And the reality of that is we want to continue to collect interest. As Sergio said, as Aaron continues to say, we are a field-driven team, at Neumi. So our executive team is oftentimes is driven by what are we experiencing in the field, what leaders are requesting, what customers are requesting, and we take that feedback and we work with that into a deliverable, right? And so we wanted to advance the transparency of where we're getting international market requests. We're in a lot of markets. um, we're probably hitting above our weight class, as it were, to use that example, meaning that we just, as a company that's 5 years old, that's relatively new to the scene, with innovative products, we're in a lot of different countries. However, that's been part of our core strategy is be able to advance and get our products into as many markets as possible. But we're not done, of course. And so we are introducing this concept of kind of a staged pipeline, as it were, where we kind of gate these markets into different categories. And this will be something that will be publicly available in help.neumi.com, so that anytime you have a question about a certain country, you'll be able to go to there, submit interest, or whatever it may be. We're working on delivering that. But for now, to kind of give you an idea of where we're at, there's 14 markets that we're kind of currently looking or developing or in development of, right? We're collecting interest in Chile, Argentina, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. We're looking at market research and some of these others, trying to work with our due diligence. So collecting interest is like you telling us, hey, we want this market. We have so and so that's interested. We have all of this that's working on. And then we have, so we collect that interest and we try to find, is it just one group? Is it multiple groups that are having interest? It's really important that we have, demand that's coming from multiple areas. So that creates a priority for us. And then what we do is we move that into a market research, which means Neumi, goes in and says, okay, can we register the product? Do we need to get an entity? Do we need to do what legal work? What mode can we operate in? And then once we understand that, then we move it into kind of a proposed launch strategy. So that's this working with the field, working with those that are interested, working with us to say, okay, this is what we would do. We're going to launch it in, May of next year or wherever it may be. And so with that, you can see we have right now we're working on a couple of markets, but we're to get into that phase. But that's one of those. That's where kind of the real start begins. And then we do the business setup, and then the market soft launch. And right now Japan is currently in its soft launch. Thailand is in its soft launch. Taiwan just entered into that phase, where we're really trying to navigate the demands to get it to a local state to do business. And then we go into a full market launch. And so this is something that you'll see phased in into help.neumi.com, and where we can learn and track and collect interest. And I love this. Yeah, go ahead and type your wish. What is your dream country? I would love to just put that in the chat. Where do you want us to see us next? If you saw that and you read that, there's one market there that is massive potential, right? China. So those are some things that you can kind of see really taking shape, allowing this growth to happen. So I'm really, really excited to partner with you to build out our international markets. I love seeing this. Yeah, we've got Norway, Armenia, UAE. We are operational in UAE, so maybe look that up and we can ship and sell product into UAE. So if you have business there, please contact us if you need help with that. Awesome. Chile. My mother-in-law is from Chile, so she would be very happy and proud of me. I could use that. Morocco, Florence, I know. Brazil, great. These are amazing to see. We really want to continue to build out and help you and partner with that. So, with that, I just want to issue this challenge. So much new stuff is going on. You represent probably thousands of others that aren't on this call today. Please, please, please connect them. People are looking for community. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for connection. And so I would ask you to take this, get them on. We'll have another call later today. If that time zone doesn't work, reach out, go through the presentations. Anton says where they're at. It's really important. We're really excited to get this information out. We've been working for years to deliver this to you. So we know that as we lock arms, we're going to succeed together. So with that, Sergio, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you and a lot of great information. And there we have it. We learn a little bit more in depth on how the interest of a certain market turns into reality. Easier said than done, Chris. I know you know that by heart, but we're very grateful for these markets that are being developed. And having said that, on the sales side, this will allow me to work with some of you that are newer and want to be working in some of these markets that we have working in the pipes to be added on there. And as you know, those leaders that are listening, there are many of you that are working currently with me on a sales plan on how we can take this and make it a reality. So thanks again, Chris. Have a great rest of your day today, and we'll see you on Monday. Again, a quick reminder, if you don't know, every Monday morning, 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Savings Time currently, Chris and I start off the week interacting with you, very different from any other type of call. So join us if you are not aware of that call. And to close off on a sweet note, I am going to invite our founder, Mr. Stephen Scott himself, who's going to talk a little bit about what he shared at Summit and some of his vision that he has of where we're going with this. So Steve, if you're on, please go ahead and unmute yourself and turn on your camera and we'll get you going.
Okay, I'm here.
Perfect, Steve. So let me put the spotlight on you and welcome to today's call.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody. It's been really exciting. So many good things going on. And I'd like to address a couple of things. First of all, let's talk about what Eurofin study showed. As you know, I have been consumed with a vision for effective delivery of glutathione and cysteine into the cytoplasm for years, really since about 2006. And just because somebody raises glutathione levels in the bloodstream, I found out from one scientist who was world-renowned that doesn't mean a thing. It floats around in the blood. I'll use this example. We'll say that this is your cell, and here is a pore. The pores are very tiny. They're about 10 nanometers in diameter. The cell average is about 100 nanometers in diameter. And just because something is in the bloodstream, now watch this. Woo, we got all this stuff. We'll pretend like this bottle's the bloodstream. And it flows right over the cell. And it comes around another round of circulation and it flows over again and again and again. Doesn't mean a thing. And there are so many companies out there that quote statistics. They'll say, we raised glutathione by 300%, 200%. No, that's in the bloodstream. I used to do that with my very first glutathione product because we had tests that showed we raised it by 300% within 30 days in the lymphocytes, which is the best place to test. So we advertise that. Then we get this scientist in who's a true brilliant scientist, 42 years, professor of medicinal chemistry and toxicology at University of Minnesota, had major breakthroughs, knew more about glutathione than anybody in the world, absolutely positively, had done more in the field than anybody in the world. And he saw my ad on that and he said, Steve, you got to stop that. I said, why? It's true. He said, no, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything to have it in the bloodstream if it can't get into the cell. And all these numbers that you're quoting are meaningless. So we instantly took it out of our advertising. All of our competitors kept it in there. Okay, so they were doing what this scientist called being very deceitful. So don't pay attention to it because it doesn't mean anything. What counts is what actually gets into the cell. And there's two ways to get into the cytoplasm. One is forced diffusion, where you come up against the wall of the cell and you're pushing, and some of it through energy forces can get into the cellular wall, and then some of that can end up in the cytoplasm. That's the problem with a liposome. A liposome makes a particle way too big. Now, when we did this Eurofins study, we had them test our hydrostat-delivered glutathione and cysteine versus normal glutathione, just raw glutathione, and then a specially treated glutathione that is ethyl ester glutathione, and that's been treated to try to get more into the cell. Well, needless to say, we blew it all away, and you'll see it when we show you these results. So let's start. And what's important, let me say this. You have to get into the cytoplasm in a way that allows the cell to create more what they call redox activity. Now, if there's a battle going on inside this can and something touches the can or is waiting to get in, that's not redox activity. The battle is when this gets into the cell or comes across cell and creates that battle where glutathione always wins. That's called redox activity. It's redox cycle. That's what's important. So what was measured, not just getting in, but what's creating that redox activity that performs the 400 functions of glutathione. And we knew we were better. We knew we would do well. We didn't know about the others. Why? Because we see things nobody else has ever seen. We create what I call a tipping point that nobody else does. What's a tipping point? Okay, so here we have a bottle. Let me put it on this. Okay, and there it's stable. But now we want to get it clear over to here. That's where the action is. And the tipping point isn't there. It would go right back, right back, right back. Then you reach a tipping point where, bam, it gets in there and does all the things that you want it to do. We reached that tipping point a long time ago. We reached it in our very earliest days in 2018. We rolled it out in Neumi in 2021, and that was called NutraSwish. And we had achieved that tipping point. What we have since done is we had a formula that was much stronger. Like Bert said, it had 48%, because there's only so much you can put into these water clusters using the water molecules without it exploding, rupturing, and then it becomes totally ineffective. So we push the limit. We raise more. Finally, we come up with this, which has been used, a white bottle with our professional group that we can only sell here in the United States and in Canada. That professional program, we called it the Professional Resellers Program. It's not available worldwide yet, but this had 4 times the amount of glutathione, or not 4 times, 48% more glutathione and cysteine than the blue bottle. Well, guess what we did? We said, no good. Not no good, but we're about to change. So we created, let's see if you can see it, extra strength. If you can read backwards, that's what it says there. Extra strength. And extra strength has the same amount of cysteine, the same amount of glutathione, even more vitamin C, and than what that had. And consequently, now the blue bottle that we ship out with 48% more costs a little bit more, but the results are unbelievable. It took us to a whole new level. Our doctors that were using it in their professional practices just started raging. You won't even believe what we just saw. You wouldn't believe this. You wouldn't believe this. Whoa, nobody does this. And those were the kinds of wows. We finally got to the point where we could get it approved and rolled out worldwide. So that's Neumi Extra Strength. That's what's coming to you. When we did our Eurofin test, we did not test what had been out in the field. We tested the extra strength. And now we're going to show you the results. Okay, let's go to the first slide. We only have 2 slides today. Are you there, slide master? Who's ever doing that? Here we go. Okay, so there we go. So this was in normal cells that had already had pretty close to an optimum level amount of glutathione. Now, in the first 5 minutes, you can see our value there. And normal glutathione was 55, we were 108. And ethyl ester glutathione, which is especially prepared to get in, so was 75. We beat them both, okay? Now at 10 minutes, look what happened. We're 6 times as much as the specially treated. Let's see, 40 goes into 150. There's 3 roughly. So about 4.5 times normal glutathione. And then at 20 minutes, we're still outperforming them. And all this is redox activity. This is the battle. Now, watch what happened with cells that didn't have optimal amounts of glutathione, adequate amounts. And they're called stress. They reduce the amount of glutathione in those cells by 35%. Now we really knock it out of the park. You can see how we outperform at the 5-minute, outperform at the 20-minute or 10-minute. At 20 minutes, there's a drop because we're already creating the maximum amount. The other 2 go up a little bit after 20 minutes because they're not. So we blow away everything on the market. Now, there's one thing about this test. Can you come back to me, Chris? What this is testing is when you run any mixture of glutathione over a cell and what actually gets in. Now, the problem is those first 2 can't even get through the stomach. So that's if somehow they made it through the stomach. They don't. Raw glutathione and even ethyl ester glutathione is destroyed the minute it hits the stomach. And the way around that is twofold. One is you can have it an IV. The IV costs $200 to $300 per IV, and the half-life gives you about a 6-hour bang for the buck where you're optimized glutathione. Problem is there's not even 6 hours isn't a whole day. And you have to get through day after day. People go in, they get an infusion for $200 to $300, and the next day there's almost nothing left to do the battles that glutathione does. And as the week goes on, it's worthless. You would have to get an IV at least every other day to have a sustaining value of glutathione. That's not practical. Very few people can afford that. I know a doctor, a surgeon, was on 3 infusions a day to get through his 14-hour days of surgery. Guess what? That's $900 a week. And was it 3 infusions? Yeah, $900. It was 3 infusions a week, not a day. And when he tried our original iteration, our original version of NutraSwish, he got rid of the IV. Because the neat thing about the half-life with ours, if you start to fade, you can swish, come right back up. And so he never again went to IVs. He just did Swish. Swish was $2 a serving, and his IVs were 200 to 300. Actually, his were $300 an IV. So we blow apart IV delivery. IV delivery takes about 26 minutes to get into the cell and start being utilized in the redox activity. We are in the cell in under 5 minutes, and the redox is happening. In fact, it's one pass of circulation, which is about 50 to 60 seconds. The neat thing about the depleted cells and what we did with them, which was even greater, is those are the cells that need it. Okay, now your glutathione level is declining by 8 to 15% per year, per decade. I'm sorry, per decade, and that's a general decline that we need to overcome or at least battle. When you have any kind of disease state or injury locally, like if you have heart problems, if you have liver problems, if you have joint muscle problems, all those things locally lower the glutathione availability huge. And for example, asthma, childhood asthma, any kind of asthma, or COPD, any pulmonary, that extra work that the lungs have to do to compensate to get the oxygen to the cells, that causes tremendous amounts of oxidative stress, which then drain the level of glutathione that's available. Okay, so basically everybody has either local or system-wide, body-wide, depleted cells, stress cells. So that's where the real action is, and that's where we just blew everything apart by as much as 600% increase. So we already knew this. We already knew we were seeing things, world records for athletes, rapid recovery rates, athletes telling us they recover 70, 80% faster. There was a test in Spain done by an orthopedic or a sports medicine group, and they found that we delayed the onset of lactic acidosis by 16.7%. Nobody else delayed it by even 1%. So you can't do that if you're not getting into the battle, if you're not in the redox, increasing the redox activity within the cell. And that's what we were doing. So, and now we have a test from the #1 live testing group in the world. Eurofins, if you don't know, is in 64 countries, 60,000 employees, 450 million tests a year. They are #1. So, congratulations. You're not selling a wish, a hope, a dream. You're not selling glutathione that stays in the blood but doesn't get into the cell and ultimately becomes ineffective. So that's what we had. We introduced it, and I'm excited about those new products they talked about. I will tell you, I've used the Energy. Terrific. I actually use the Relax when I go to bed because sometimes I was ready for bed, but my body wouldn't relax, my mind wouldn't relax, but it's not putting me to sleep. So that's where we are, and thank you for all you do. And we'll have my normal Thursday night call, I think the third Thursday of, we're now in August. So I'll see you then. And
Thank you so much for being
Sergio
with us today, and we do look forward to having you with us here. Last week we couldn't wait till the third Thursday of August, and so we had a special edition to kind of bring everyone up to speed last week. So thank you for doing that, and we'll see you again in a few weeks. Great information, Steve. And as Anton mentioned earlier, we are, updating a few things to our current opportunity presentation. So in the near coming future, you'll see some nice things. To finish this off, I've been talking a lot about Achieve. Last week during my presentation, I showed you where we're going, what it requires, and what it takes for you to be there. And taking advantage of Steve being here, we talked a lot about how this meeting of Achieve not only gives you the opportunity to interact with other Neumi members, but the personal development aspect of it and how Steve's trainings give a new perspective to people that have even attended this event once or twice. I learned new things out of it on this last one. I'm still thinking about them to this day, and it's helping me understand people that I work with better, people that I serve better. It's helping me to kind of understand how I work a little bit better, right? Including the personality test. So thank you, Steve. You know, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and do some vision mapping this new month, and just as we go up towards the end of the year, vision map some few things. So I invite you to do that yourself. Ryan has shared with you that nice website that we have available now, where you can even take a personality test today if you'd like. We'll put it here on the chat for you. Now, talking back about Achieve, you know, I covered this quite a bit over the past 2 weeks, but I have good news for all of you. If you log into your back office now, you will be able to see the current report of how everything is looking. I want to give a prop and a special shout out to our great IT department, who's always just working so hard to make things better. If you look at our dashboard now in your back office, it's amazing. You'll see the power of 3 there, what you need to do to get there. You'll see the banners that we've been promoting over the past year even. The calendar we've added. So guess what? The Momentum Diamond Tours that corporate will be present at, we'll make sure you have access to those even on that calendar that's there. And now the new report is live. So all you need to do is go to the left tab, the same place where Anton was telling you where to find the assets that he's uploaded. And you can see where you currently stand, because remember, this has been in the works now for a month. And so we'll have a lot of fun throughout the qualification period. But let me show you kind of what you will see when you access this. So just to give you a quick view, this is just a mock-up of a fiction account here that I have. But this is what you will see. So for example, once you get to that report, you'll see where you stand. In this case, what I need to get to the swag item, which is that nice briefcase, how many points I need to get to the hotel, to the bonuses, and then you can even download. So this will give you an order of where you stand today. Remember that we will have an enhancement now that it's more detailed. We always had questions of how we can better show you where your points are coming from. And so again, I want to give a shout out to our IT team and commissions team that have been so helpful in making this a much more easier experience. So having said that, now it's a time where we start sharing the top 30 for the program. Every week, I'm going to be posting on our social media where you stand with the top 30. And those that are taking off with this, we're going to be working very closely with you, because we do not want anyone to miss out. Next year, we talked about the great locations. Orlando for the Americas. We'll be in Croatia again, per special request, per demand, there again. So, and who knows, as new regions are coming into the world of Neumi, we can definitely work with you as we look at other regions that are starting to grow quite a bit. So we'll have an Achieve event for you to attend, whether it's in Orlando or Croatia, or who knows, as I said, with all the growth that we're seeing, we'll keep you posted. But the challenge I give you and the next call of action is, as soon as we finish this call today, log in to your back office, access the new assets you have the availability to view with new presentations, the banners, and see where you stand today on that specific Achieve qualification. Because before you know it, time is going to fly by. And you know what? This is the month where we can focus on recruiting, because we also have that accelerator, the rank reach accelerator promotion that's already kicked off for the month of August and September. So take advantage of it. There are a lot of things you can really take on with the incentives that we have going on. Again, I always invite you to go to help.neumi.com, because that's where you have the most up-to-date information, whether it's regarding markets, product availability, whether it's shipping, updates, incentives that we have, You can even have direct access to the PowerPoints there. For example, the Achieve one that we covered recently, you can see that there. Thanks for joining us. Next week, we'll have Aaron, Rennert, and Ryan on this call, and we'll have a special crown guest with us as well. But don't miss out our onboarding call, because we will talk a little bit more about what a new member can do as they take off here at Neumi. Thanks again for all that you do, and it's a pleasure to greet you today. Take care and much success this new month of August. See you soon.
Alrighty, guys. So as we wrap up, just a little reminder too, we have a lot of new products. We're getting phenomenal results on these products, and we have a lot of new testimonials that are in the official Facebook group. So if you haven't done that, if you used any one of these new products, please submit your testimonial. You've probably seen some of the testimonials look really cool in terms of the template they have with the special colors that match all the products. That corporate does that. What we need you to do is submit your testimonial to that official page, and that's when you might end up being on the official page for Neumi. You just never know, depending on how good the testimonials are. The more the merrier. So there's no such thing as a bad testimonial. Send them in. If they're non-compliant, we will correct them for you before publishing. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you've been watching us from today. All the best. Oh, and don't forget, Steve Scott is live.